The quote that we heard earlier about neo-humanism is something, it's perhaps easy to relate to when you're thinking about meditation and the kind of our inner goal that we want to attain, and taking that feeling and feeling, well, I love everybody and I want to love all the plants and animals and the world. But once we start engaging with the world, it usually becomes a bit more complicated than that. And what we find is that there are people that irritate us, or that there are people that want the same thing that we want. There's only one of them. Or, human beings, on the one hand, are capable of great love and acts of great love, and really helping one another and making even great sacrifices for one another, or planting trees and doing amazing things. But we are also capable of doing terrible things to one another, and I don't want to dwell on that, but we shouldn't forget it. So how do we develop this feeling of universal love, and how can meditation help us do that? So think about our sense of self and identity, and how that relates to other people's sense of self. So in our little group here of 20 or 30 people, what do we have in common and what is different? All right? So imagine we can't do this physically, but sometimes in a group we get little post-it notes, those little sticky notes, and we'll write all the things that we think are unique to us or different about how we describe ourselves. We'll start physically. So, I might start off describing myself, and I'll sort of say, okay, I'm this tall, and I've got with this coloured skin, and my hair is like that, my eyes are blue, and all of that. I've got 2 arms, 2 legs. That's common with most of us, fortunately at least, have one or similar physical form, but we've also got differences. So we're different physically, but we've got some things in common. Then let's think about how we might be different in our minds on the next level, right? So we'll go from the physical, we'll start going inward. How are we different in our minds? Well, right now, we have some things in common. We're all sharing this experience, even though it's virtual. We're in different parts of the world, but we're connected in some way, mentally. But maybe thinking about some similar ideas. You're all hearing my voice and seeing maybe this picture, but each of us is seeing it slightly differently. But on the inside, we've got a whole lot of other things that in the background. You've got all the memories of your life and your dreams and hopes and things you love and things you don't love, and your personality, things you're inclined towards, and your qualities of your character. So we've got a whole lot of differences mentally and emotionally. Again, we've got some similar. We've all experienced love and anger and joy and all the different emotions, but we experience them in different ways. They're like colors on a palette. We all start with the same, 3 basic colors, and dark and light, but we make all kind of different pictures with those colors in our minds. But what meditation does is take us towards something deeper than that, and that is, well, think about it. I have a body, I've got eyes, I've got hair, I've got arms and legs. I also have a mind, I have feelings, I have emotions. What's common about that is the I. The person who feels that these are mine. This is my body, this is my mind, this is my house, these are my friends, this is my family. This I is the common denominator. This feeling of I-ness or this feeling of existence. And when we come back to this fundamental sense of existence, it's actually the same. You feel it, I feel it, everybody feels that I exist. And that's the I, or in Sanskrit we call it the Atman, that we are focusing on in meditation. We're directing our attention towards this fundamental sense of existence and expanding it so that we are connecting to this sense or this feeling of limitless awareness or limitless consciousness. In yoga philosophy, we would say that actually this sense that we have of existing is not generated by our minds, rather our minds reflect it. We are more like planets than stars, if you like. So there is a universal consciousness that is constantly broadcasting this awareness. It's omnipresent. It means it's present everywhere. It's within everything. It surrounds everything. In Sanskrit we call that Brahma or Paramatman. So it's like the sun is always radiating light and the planets reflect it. And Mars reflects it with its own unique way. The Earth reflects it, Venus reflects it, etc. So we are like planets that reflect consciousness. That's what our minds and our physical structure that supports the mind, the brain and nervous system, is capable of doing. But the consciousness is the same. So the more that we identify with that, the more the differences disappear, in a sense, or seem less important. So if we identify primarily with our core sense of awareness, we can more easily feel, oh, I'm like that person, I'm like these other people. I can easily identify with them as well and feel love for them, feel commonality, feel that we are connected and we are one, and I care about them in the same way that I care about myself. And of course we feel that actually for people who are close to us, our family, our children, our parents, our friends. All we're doing here is reinforcing that feeling and realizing that it actually, why don't we feel that for everyone? There's no logical reason why we shouldn't feel that somebody living in Zimbabwe is like my brother or my child or my friend. It's simply that we don't know them. But if we come to know our own self very deeply, we actually know what is the deepest part of everyone. And then it's easy to feel that same feeling for other people. So neo-humanism, this feeling which is very sort of kind of an ideal, we can cultivate it by identifying with the Atma, with our deepest self, which is common to all. So that's what I think, anyway,